ladies and gentlemen, the glue master, the riddler. He is back at it again, and boy, oh boy, do I have quite the video to share with you. You're not actually seeing the thumbnail of the video on the screen right now. All you're seeing is the title, and this title is pretty inflammatory. The HP inflation conversation in Zenless Zone Zero is a joke. LOL. And this is the thing. This is a two-piece combo. This is the burger and the fries, and we're only seeing the burger right now. Let me show you the fries. That right there is a picture of Hoshimi Miyabi, the most broken character in the game, that proceeded to, when she was released in version 1.4, do close to double the damage of everybody else on the roster. And that is an arrow pointing to her. And the statement made is, it's not her fault. Lamau. The character that got released in 1.4 that did double the damage of every other unit released before her is not the reason for HP inflation. That is the claim being made. And so you can probably tell there's a high degree of absurdity when it comes to that statement. I brought a bit of glue over here actually showing how HP inflation has gone on through the history of Zenless Zone Zero. And I'm gonna be real here, right? It's on a pretty steep uptrend. It is on a massive uptrend where it peaked at 58.31% in version 1.7, the first half, which is now, and is currently down to only 49.74 compared to 1.4 when Miyabi was released and the triple ultimate update was made. However, do keep in mind, this is at 50% HP inflation, and that's only because you have some of the two biggest time wasters in gacha gaming history as a boss on Shiyu 7. It's like the two, like, palicos, or like the two palindromes with those guys that, like, activate, like, Ultra Instinct and go invulnerable for, like, 5-10 seconds in the middle of your run. Yeah, it's those dudes. So they're there. So with that, let's go ahead. Let's play the video. We got all the glue. I'm excited to see what the glue master's thoughts are on this situation. Let's check this out. Hopefully Io's cooking something good. Hopefully he did not burn the kitchen, but I'm a little bit spooked. I'm a little bit scared considering that thumbnail and title combo that we just saw.
Intermediate in reference to the bar that Maximilian had available for us, right? This yellow, this is to represent the transitional period. This transitional period is going from, I understand the basics of the game, I understand builds.
Does this video not have an intro?
What I should be doing, and now I'm working my way through that, which is where you end up in the intermediate category. There are things about the game you understand and things about the game you don't understand. So you are in a full-on learning process. You're absorbing everything. You're questioning everything. You're challenging everything, right? Once you hit this advanced category, you know so much about the game. You don't have to think about your builds. You're not asking too many questions. You're only asking things that are like new, right? New character comes out. Oh, what does that character do? All right, cool. I understand it now. And then obviously pro is, you know, that's the top 1%, bro. I don't gotta explain pro. So yes, here we are.
So for some context, because I don't think there was any of it at all, Maximilian is a fighting game content creator who is in this video, or in this excerpt, I guess, over here. He is talking about how in fighting games, there is this sort of differentiation across the player base. And this is the thing. Fighting games are inherently competitive because you have to play against somebody else when you're playing a fighting game, unless you're in like the story mode, I guess. But if you're in the story mode, I don't think any of this shit really applies. They're very hard to play. You have to memorize all these different combos, all these different inputs, all these different moves, and because of that, there is a, you know, naturally a need to sort of delineate across the player base all these different skill levels, because yeah, fighting games are difficult. They're competitive. They're PvP. And Io is going ahead and I think trying to take this chart of a PvP, very intense, very difficult game, and then apply it to Zenless Zone Zero, which is entirely PvE. All you do is you fight against AI, and there's not really like a ranked system for you to gain or lose MMR or like ELO rating, because it's not competitive. It's a PvE game. And so that is the initial sort of like comparison, or I guess the juxtaposition that's being made over here. Yeah, there's just, unfortunately, there's no prefacing at all in this video, despite being labeled intro.
Let's tie this all the way back to the video that I want to talk about today.
Okay.
We're tying all this back to the HP inflation.
Okay.
None of this is relevant. HP inflation is not relevant in Zenless at all. The reason it's not relevant is because of the game itself. If you're going to look at HP inflation, if you're going to talk about the HP inflation, timer, time wasting mechanics, right? That falls hand in hand, and then power creep.
That's a bold claim to make.
All three of these things are completely irrelevant in the game once you the moment you breach past this green territory or this blue territory, right? When you
Wait, I need to see what three things are irrelevant. HP inflation, power creep, and what?
Mechanics, right? That falls hand in hand, and then power creep.
HP inflation, time wasting mechanics, and power creep are all irrelevant. All three of those things are irrelevant. That is what the claim is here.
All three of these things are completely irrelevant in the game once you the moment you breach past this green territory or this blue territory, right? When you hit this green territory, none of that shit matters to you. And I need you guys to understand, this blue represents a large majority of players in the gacha space. They log in, they play the game, they enjoy the story, the events, they have a good time, they hang out with their friends, and they do whatever the they want. If they clear it, they clear it. They don't, they don't, right?
So is he basically saying, if you have a life, you shouldn't be able to do the end game? if you're doing anything except playing this game for 10 hours a day, you shouldn't be able to clear the end game.
They clone, wow. This green players think they deserve what orange and red players get. What does that mean? If a red player has done all of it, imagine this as a progression bar. We start at level 1 and then you go all the way up 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. 100% is pro. 80 to 90% is advanced, and then 60 to 80% is intermediate. The green players feel like they are entitled to and deserve what the orange and red players earn by having done level 1 all the way up to 80 to 100%.
So if you want to clear the end game without playing for 10 hours, now you're entitled.
And now their challenge is clearing end game. Yellow players are working towards that. They don't feel entitled to it. They want it. They crave the ability to clear it. So they are working towards that. Yes, they might be bitching about it, but they're not stopping. Damn, man, I hate that Miyabi is so strong. I wish I had 2 Astras. I'm gonna find a way around not having 2 Astras. I understand that my Miyabi is so strong and so is Astra. What if I split them and I gave Astra to my weaker team and I left Miyabi alone?
What if I just don't have either of them and I don't get to clear the end game because I don't have the 2 most broken units in the game? I guess part of being the advanced, pro, and intermediate is pulling the right characters, I guess, right? And you wanna know why? Because of HP inflation.
What would my performance be then? Does the test. Oh my god, wow, I'm in orange territory now. Crazy what happens when you understand more about the game's mechanics and how things work so that you can mix and match and play around with what it is without needing a guide maker to tell you what to do. The entire conversation, those 3 points that we talked about, it's only this green section right here feeling entitled from orange and red. That's what it is. I understand this. Again,
Level of elitism for, like, I can't fathom how there's such a high level of elitism in a PvE gacha game where you immediately take all the difficulty, all of this prep, all of this game knowledge that he's talking about over here, and you can just throw it out the window when you just pull the newest units. All of these obstacles, all of these hoops that you have to jump through that he's talking about right now, all of this like leveling up in skill, you don't have to do any of it if you just pull the newest units. Because the newest units will deal more damage than the ones released before them. And so HP inflation, literally, like he's saying, it won't matter if you just pull the newest units. That's just how this game is working right now.
Spoken with a lot of people about this. I've looked at both sides of the coin. I'm really trying to understand the discussion at hand, and it always boils down to the same thing. No matter how you word it, no matter how you flip and spin it, I feel like I deserve blank.
I feel like I deserve not getting fucked over because I didn't pull the newest units. I deserve to not get screwed because I didn't pull the newest units. That's kind of the take.
Blank being the premium rewards. And then they justify this by giving you everything that if these challenges weren't in my way, I'd be able to get my rewards.
Yeah, the challenge over here is credit card debt.
And then it would be a good game. It would be a good system. It would be a good end game. That is not how it works. It does not work that way. So this is where we need to figure out who's on what side of the fence. This also relates to what I talked about way earlier into the stream, where I spoke about there being two sides, or rather a couple different, like the type of
That transition was kind of cool though. That was kind of neat.
person or players that are arguing about HP inflation and whatever else, right? And it feels disingenuous.
I'm gonna be real. I think that him framing talks about HP inflation as disingenuous when he just said that players feel entitled to higher rewards without putting in any effort is like, that might be the most disingenuous way of all of framing the conversation.
It feels spiteful to have that kind of argument regarding Zenless, right? Like, hey, Zenless is bad because blank. These things in Zenless are bad because blank. And then when discussing why they're bad, the reason that they're bad is not because of anything pertaining to the actual game. The reason that they're bad is, as I explained, it's either that green section, right, entitlement, or it is a very disingenuous argument put on the board. Why is HP inflation bad? Oh, well, because it leads to Star Rail. Okay, how does an action-based game lead to a turn-based game situation?
Because in Honkai Star Rail, the game is dog shit because to clear, you need to pull all the newest units. To clear, you need to pull all the newest units because they do way more damage. They have way better buffs than everybody else that came before them. And what that led to is HP inflation in the game because the newest units keep doing more damage than the ones released before them. And to keep up and be able to clear the content, you have to pull the newest units. And ZZZ is literally doing the exact same thing, where every new unit does more damage than the last one. Miyabi was just the biggest example, but believe me when I say that Vivian and Astra, they're way better than the past Anomaly and the past support units. Way better.
Oh, well, power creep's horrible. Why? Miyabi, for the last time, it's not going to be the last time either. Miyabi is literally the anomaly. There's a reason she is what she is. And there was a really good statement that was made, a question that was,
I am excited to hear what the reason is for why she is the way she is. Is it going to be the same reason for Yi Xuan as well? When Yi Xuan releases and does a fuck ton of damage and completely breaks the game, is there going to be a good reason for that one as well?
that was brought out to me that I'll briefly introduce here. We'll talk about it again in a whole different section, or a whole different video. But Miyabi is not the new floor. It might be easier if I use a visual representation of what I'm explaining.
Okay.
So just so you guys can see it before I continue. Right? Miyabi, the ceiling at the top, floor at the bottom, right? Okay, boom. Boom. And so where would I place Miyabi? Normally in Star Rail, what happens in Star Rail is the floor for power, right? The power floor rises to the top. And this is what creates the power creep, the rampant power creep that we have in Star Rail. It's because the floor is rising. So no longer is the...
Why is the floor rise? Because the HP went up everywhere. The floor rises when the HP goes up. The floor is rising in How else can the floor rise? The floor literally means the minimum DPS, the minimum investment, the minimum stuff required.
The floor down.
You could just put ZZZ here as well. What? Because the only way this floor rising up happens is because of HP inflation.
Here, the floor represents like the baseline of power. The baseline of power needed to clear whatever content is present in the game. In Zenless, the floor is still here.
The HP literally went up 64%, or 58% from 1.4, and you're saying the floor didn't move? Let's just replay that one more time. Knowing that HP has gone up 58% in 1.7 compared to 1.4. In 3 versions, the HP went up 58%. Let's just hear this again.
Present in the game. In Zenless, the floor is still here. Miyabi, right over here, is the ceiling. The highest form of power currently in the game is Miyabi. She is the ceiling. The floor to clear content in the game, the baseline level of power required in Zenless Zone Zero, is still here.
But it factually is not, because the mobs have 13 million more HP than they did 3 versions ago. The HP went up by by 13 million. What do you mean the floor didn't go up?
In order for HP inflation, power creep, whatever, to be the exact same as Star Rail, two things need to be true.
Oh,
One,
okay.
you have to be a idiot, a mongrel, a fool to look at both games, say they're the same, and then not equate anything that happens in either game. Two, the floor needs to rise the same way that it has in Star Rail.
I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. We just said time wasting mechanics, power creep, and HP inflation mean nothing. They don't matter. And then we just said that the floor of damage required in the game is not rising. When the HP has gone up 58%, it's literally 12.2 million more HP than it was 3 versions ago. And we're saying that anyone saying that this is an issue is a stupid mongrel? What? Have we lost the plot? It's only 7 minutes into this video.
But in Zenless, right? This floor needs to rise all the way up. Now, before we get into anything else, right? To end this entire thing off. Oh wow, that's not true because Deadly Assault, blah 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 blah. You need Miyabi to clear whatever the. Yesterday, a video popped up on my feed on my channel that I was like, wow, that's crazy. Doesn't exist. No way. I gotta watch it. You guys get to watch this with me. Call this out in chat. This is Deadly Assault, the current version of Deadly Assault, right? What are we looking at?
We're looking at a dude that plays this game for 24 hours a day. Does absolutely nothing else. Doesn't talk to his parents. Doesn't talk to his friends. Doesn't have a significant other. Doesn't have pets. No other responsibilities in his life. And all he does is play this game for 10 hours a fucking day.
I really want people to understand what's going on. There's a couple things that I'm gonna point.
I just explained what's going on.
Point out about this. Like there's two things that you do not notice is happening unless you are in this yellow bracket, yellow, orange, or red bracket. There are two things happening with this particular video or clip that I am showing you that you are not aware of. You have not studied the game, right? Not here.
Why did bro have my channel page pulled up?
You ain't studied the game. Look at the character present on the field. I'm using this for a number of reasons. This entire video shuts down every single argument possible. Why? Because we are using in-game representation of power creep, HP inflation, time-based mechanics, whatever. Which is why I have the paper over there.
What does this video prove? Wait. What does this video actually prove?
But a solo Soldier 11 just cleared Deadly Assault with 20K. I want you to take this information, I want you to take this video, and I want you to understand something real quick.
Okay.
The amount of people that have been crying, bitching, moaning, and whatever else about HP inflation, power creep this, power creep.
Normal people don't want to spend 10 hours grinding and practicing for a Deadly Assault 3-star clear, which is literally the equivalent. Isn't it like 100 polychromes? Isn't this like 100? It's 150 polychromes. You're going to practice for 10 hours for 150 polychromes.
That you need Miyabi for this, blah, 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 blah. They are playing with a full deck of 3 characters. A single character just cleared. Now let's look at the build. M3 Soldier 11. Let's look.
Wait, this is M3? M3 with a Giga cracked build. Oh, that's something.
Look at this together. What does an M3 Soldier 11 consist of? Mindscape 1. When Soldier 11 enters combat or switches in, immediately irrelevant. M1 immediately becomes irrelevant because she cannot switch in. She is solo. This doesn't matter. M2. When triggering fire suppression, basic attack, dash attack, and dodge counter damage increases by 3%.
That's 36% damage. That's a lot.
Up to 12 stacks lasting 15 seconds with the duration of each stack calculated separately. This is basically giving her a secondary disk drive. This is helping Soldier 11 solo Soldier 11, by the way, without a team. Irrelevant. Basically,
did we just say 36% damage is irrelevant? No. Nah, we didn't just say that 36% damage is irrelevant, right? I'm sorry, bro. No, we can't be saying that 36% damage is irrelevant, man. Guys, I mean, this is the thing. It's like, we cannot be in a state where we're, like, defending the game this hard, and then saying that a Mindscape that gives the character 36% damage doesn't mean anything. Like, it's literally 36% damage. Hopefully you guys understand just how ridiculous that claim is. And please don't tell me he's gonna say the M3 is irrelevant as well, because those add a fuck ton of motion values, especially when the skill tree is maxed out. Those actually add a lot of motion values when the skill tree is maxed out, which I assume it is in a solo clear. I assume they're maxing out everything.
Basic attack being leveled up by +2, right? The stuff be, oh my god, you got +2 level, wow. 85 crit rate, 136 crit damage, 3100 attack. This is not unachievable.
Pridewind says M3 has 14% more DPS per rotation than M0. That seems like a lot.
If we're looking at a Soldier 11 build, this is very basic. Most of your Evelynns.
So if it's 14% more DPS per rotation, then 1,000,000% this Soldier 11 doesn't clear if it's M0. Yeah, this thing doesn't clear if it's M0.
Have a stronger build than this. This is very achievable. Maxed out. Oh, they're maxed out. No shit, Sherlock, because they're fully invested into the team with Brimstone. Free to play W engine, by the way. Anyone can go get Brimstone. Just stop spinning your pulls. Anyone has the option to get Brimstone. 4-piece Woodpecker to guarantee the crit. 2-piece Pin from the Puffer to increase the extra damage. And let's see the other stuff, right? Oh, the stats are impossible.
I mean, that's basically a perfect roll on the first piece, right?
+1 in crit damage, +2 in crit rate, +1 in attack percent. I literally have a piece just like this.
Wait, that's another perfect piece. That two of the pieces are perfect. Like the first two pieces we saw, they're literally perfect. There's no wasted rolls.
+3 in crit damage, +1 in crit rate. I have a piece just like this.
Wait, this one is also basically perfect.
1, 1, 2, 1. Everyone has a piece like this.
Did you just say perfect 4-liner with the majority of rolls in crit? The other two have absolutely no wasted rolls at all.
+3, +1 in defense.
Who said the build was mid? I think a couple of chatters said that this build wasn't that crazy. I think a couple of chatters were in here saying that the build wasn't that crazy. This is the first wasted roll.
It's not unachievable at all. With a crit rate 4. Disc 5. Pin.
One wasted substat across 5 pieces. This is one wasted roll across 5 pieces.
In ratio. Oh shit. Oh shit. We're running something that Pridewind doesn't say to run. We're running something that's not a part of the standard build. Oh my gosh. Where's his fire damage bonus? Uh-oh. So now the pin ratio goes from 24% to 32% because of the 2-piece, adding a 32% pin ratio. Come on. Are we serious?
Right, show me last piece.
There's no way we're gonna make up an excuse. And this is why I wanted to show this video. This is an excuse. Like you can't have excuses anymore. I don't want to go.
He didn't show that last piece. We're gonna find it though. We're gonna find it though. Where's that last piece? Where that though? Where that though?
Anymore.
There's 2 wasted rolls across every substat. We're using this video as the example. There's literally 2 wasted rolls. Every other roll is in an offensive substat. And this is the video, the game fully maxed out M3 Soldier 11 with 2 wasted subs across the entire build. And this is what we're saying is like the proof? And it clears with 4 seconds left solo? No, bro. Nobody got this shit. What do you mean everybody has this? There's no way anybody has this shit. There's like 5 people that have this shit. This is not relatable at all. Are you forgetting that this is solo? I'm saying that using a top 1% build where you have 2 wasted subs across the entire thing, M3, and then saying, this is proof that HP inflation doesn't matter, is one of the most crazy things I've ever heard. This is more than top 1%. What is this supposed to be proof of? Oh, you can clear with the most giga-cracked build in existence? Great. You can clear with M3 in a giga-cracked build? Awesome.
I don't want to go back through the run, but we will if we need to. I want you guys to look at what's happening here. When triggering fire suppression. So you get the stacks by what? M1 is irrelevant because she can't switch in, meaning that she can't get the energy for free. So what is the only other way to trigger fire suppression with Soldier 11? This is one of my favorite things to do and talk about. You got to know that timing. You need to know manual timing. If
you got to know how to play the character.
If you don't know that timing, you're not hitting no fire suppression. You're not building the energy to do it because M1 is irrelevant, right? And her energy to do the EX skill is like 80. There's no way you're doing that. You have to know that timing. A very important thing that a lot of people in my chat, well, I don't want to say a lot of people, a few of you guys, if you called it out, give yourself a pat on the back. You are in the yellow. You are an intermediate bracket, okay? I want you to be proud of that. You decided to put the work in to learn the game. You should be proud of that. This is a no-hit run. Every single thing this Soldier 11 did was perfect. The gear, obviously, because you're playing in-game.
So they cleared, everything they did was perfect. They had the most giga sweaty gameplay on planet Earth. Top 0.0.0.1% disk drives with only 2 wasted subs across the entire build and more crit rate than you'd find in a fucking Warframe game. And it would clear with 4 seconds left against a Fire Week boss.
The gear helps. You can't have stats with no gear. So I don't want to say that the gear doesn't matter. But the gear does not matter in the context of what I'm arguing, or rather what I'm showing you guys right now. There is zero reason somebody with a full team of 3 characters cannot clear Deadly Assault. The answer is my thumbnail. You just suck. I'm so tired of holding my tongue on that. You are dog shit at the game. You are ass.
So you need the argument once again is, unless you play this game for 10 plus hours a day, perfecting all your rotations and all your combos, you don't deserve anything in this game. You need to play like a giga sweat. You need to clear a PvE game. This is why nobody wants to play ZZZ. When you have a CC that is just saying shit like this, to play this PvE non-competitive game, you need to invest in it like it's a fucking MOBA. Like you're grinding League of Legends. Like you're grinding Street Fighter. You need to put that level of commitment into this game for a fucking PvE resetting game mode. Just so you can get your 300 fucking polychromes. Really? That's not how gacha games work. That's why this game is going to fucking die. This take, literally, if it was actually agreed on, it would kill the game. Because people will just think to themselves, it's literally not worth the investment. And if I'm not playing this game to experience the end game at all, I am just going to play it once every 5 weeks when the patch drops. This is actually the most toxic positive take I feel like I've seen regarding the game. If this was actually the universally agreed on one, people would just quit. This is killing the game.
I'm trying to be very courteous when I speak with people about that, because my intention is not to hurt anyone's feelings. What I care about is when we're arguing shit that doesn't matter and you're stating them as definites, absolutes. These things have to change. These things matter the most. I'm never gonna play the game again because these things exist in the game. Then don't play the game. It's okay.
Yes, please keep making updates and changes that only appeal to a very small portion of the populace. Yep, we should cater this game around the 1-2% of players that will actually enjoy these changes. This is how the game dies.
Said this shit literally day one. Hold on, bro. Zenless Zone Zero is not for you. I'm back in my old house. That's how I know it. 1 year ago, and that's okay. It is not the game's fault that it is not made for you. The things that you want to do, the things that you are requesting of the game, are not made for you. How do I know that? How do I know it? How did I know that then? This video, the creator roundtable, the same thing that I tried to get so many of my peers at the time to watch this video, to understand directly from the developer's mouth what was going on. What was their vision? What was their plan? What was their inspiration? Where were they going with the game? I then took that information and I started basing all of my informed decisions.
Street Fighter is a PvP game. This is a fucking one where you fight against AI. They're not the same. The only thing that might be similar between these two fucking games is that you have to click buttons really fast in both of them. I think that's it. You just have to click buttons really fast in both of them.
The statements that I made directly from what they said. They're the ones having a creator roundtable with the developers, the head developers of Street Fighter 6, a fighting game. These have never been words that Ioku has spawned out of fucking existence. I've never made up some bullshit about Zenless and fighting games and action games and whatever. These have never been things that I've said directly from my own mouth with no other evidence or things to back it up. It's all been from that video. It's all been from the articles. There were 3 articles at the time of me even looking at that video. There were 3 articles at the time that were floating around. 2 of them were, one was in Japanese, 2 was in CN. 1 was in Japanese, 1 was in CN, which were almost the same. And then 1 was in English. It was from IGN. Even the developer himself said it. He said that it's almost impossible for you guys to get a hold of Hoyoverse to have these interviews in the first place because they don't want to tell you anything. One of the key things that I personally want to do is I want to be more involved with what's going on, which is why I'm doing this interview with you here, because I want more people to understand where we are and what we're thinking about with the game. When this power floor starts to rise, then we can revisit what's going on.
It did. Why is bro just like looking at or knowing full well what these numbers are and then pretending it's not happening? It all rose. It all went up. It's all at the point where you have to do way more shit than you used to. You have to do way more damage than you used to be able to clear. It's there. It's happened. I'm confused. I don't know why we're saying it's not happening.
And that's why I went into all the other things about the game. The decibel changes, the characters. There's so much that goes into just the power dynamic behind Zenless Zone Zero that having a conversation with anyone that doesn't fully take the time to learn and understand and do it themselves, all this shit, right? That's why I'm talking about it.
What's an example of a healthy endgame? Tower of Adversity. Tower of Adversity is without a doubt the best endgame out of the big 4 gachas. There is no doubt in my mind currently it is the best one. 1,000,000%, it is the best.
I don't give a fuck about the argument itself and whether or not it's true or false. I care that it feels disingenuous. The arguments, the topics, whatever, they come off spiteful. I want the game to be better. So here are the things that I believe would make it better. Here are why they would make the game better.
And we have the stupidest comment of them all. Let's be real, it's not even a big change in HP, and why do you care so much about clearing fully for 60 currency? This argument is made so often by the dumbest people. Oh, why do you want to play the game? Why do you want to be able to complete the game? It's not even a big change in HP, so 58% HP growth in 3 patches is not a big amount. You're getting proved wrong, and you still can't say anything other than the same thing. Because you guys are in here saying that a 58% growth in HP doesn't mean anything. When it literally does, but you're just hand-waving it aside with a bad reason and then saying it's true. Do you not know how numbers work? Of course, you're a fan of ZZZ in its current state. You can't know how numbers work.
And this is my research behind that. That's not what's happening here. Not exact words from anybody's mouth. It just feels spiteful, so I'm saying that. It feels closer to, I do not want this game to have a fan base. I do not want this game to have a player base, and I want this game to get shitted on. So these...
You're literally killing and culling the fan base more and more every single patch. Every single patch. The player base is getting culled more and more because they're logging in and they're just like, wow, why is this game gotten so ridiculously hard to play? Why is it that I have to play this game like a complete fucking freak just to be able to clear content for just like 300 polychromes? People are saying, oh, 300 polychromes isn't that much. So like, why does it matter that you can't clear it? You can make the same exact argument. 300 polychromes isn't that much. Why are the devs gatekeeping it this hard? If it's not that much, what's the point of gatekeeping it?
These are the reasons why I think the game is bad. So I will continue to hammer about why these reasons are bad and ruining the game, and no one should support the game or play it.
Empirical data about this game. -40, -46, +20, up
300. Ooh, look at that. We got 353 more average viewer, guys.
And it's down by 159, and in this patch, 574. I love how this guy doesn't know how to read percentages. He's over here talking about the plus 154% over here like it's a crazy good thing. Buddy boy, currently ZZZ is the lowest it's ever been. It has never been lower than 1344. You cannot find a time in its existence where it was lower than 1344. You literally cannot. And you want to know a big reason for why this is? Probably because it is so dog shit trying to stream this game, stream any of the end game. There's a reason why people stream their TOA, Weewa runs, hologram runs, all of that shit. You want to know what people do when they play ZZZ? They realize, wow, I need to stream this game for 7 hours a day just to be able to clear these fucking modes. So I'm just not going to play it. And that has resulted in some of the most dog shit viewership I've ever seen for a game that's supposed to earn this much money. Because nobody wants to watch it. And here, we just got Wuthering Waves over here. Let's just take a look at that. Let's just take a look at it. Well. Huh. Has literally triple the viewership of ZZZ in April. Literally triple the viewership. Because you want to know why? People are comfortable actually streaming and playing this game because the devs don't balance Wuwa's endgame or Wuwa's content around you playing it for 10 fucking hours a day, perfecting rotations and sweating your fucking balls out just to be able to clear baseline content. That is what the Wuwa devs, Kuro Games, have decided to do. In ZZZ, they're just telling you, hey, unless you grind our game for 8 hours a day, go fuck yourself. And guess what? That doesn't lead to a lot of people actually wanting to play ZZZ.
This is what's currently happening and has been happening for months. Again, without any information being provided from 1.4 up to 1.7. 1.4 to 1.6 was a perfect example of everything that we would have, been able to do. I'm not.
What? It's just the HP going up 58% in 3 versions. What?
I want to be throwing people under the bus. I don't do that. Despite what people think of me, never done that a day in my life. I'm not going to blame Saint. I know a lot of the Zenless community. I see it on Reddit. I see him talk about it. I know I'm not doing that. I'm not blaming Saint. I know he says a lot. I don't know the origin of any of the shit.
It's this. It's the numbers from the game. It's the HP going up 58% in 3 patches. That's the origin of this. I'm gonna be real, EO. Like, I don't understand the whole viewpoint that, like, it just doesn't matter.
That keeps getting spun around. If you guys know it, then by all means tell me, but I don't know it. You're supposed to be in the hospital. On that note, I'm gonna go pee.
It's this. It's like the HP has literally gone up 12.2 million in Shiyu Defense 7. And like to say that the floor of the game has not gone up is like saying that this HP increase meant literally nothing. But it does. It means a lot. And I guess I don't understand the perspective here. It's just turning on the blinders and then refusing to see the actual facts and data in front of you of how much harder this game has gotten, of how much more investment you need. It's getting ridiculous. You can't just say that numbers like this are irrelevant because they don't fit with your agenda. And it's just, I'm so baffled because we said that a 36% damage increase in the solo clear is like not relevant. We said that like having 2 extra levels on these abilities is just not relevant. Get it anymore. I'm confused. So yeah, I mean, it's just, it is what it is, man. And I'm just gonna be honest. Hopefully he sees this and he's just like, this is how everybody that isn't shilling the fuck out of ZZZ, this is how they're feeling about it. This is how they feel about ZZZ as a game. And this is why so many people have quit. This is why so many people aren't coming back. Because TVs filter people. Then you had the whole situation with the HP and with Miyabi's release filtering people. Because they saw how broken she was. Then you have HP inflation following that to filter even more people. And every time each of these filters happen, the people that quit earlier see what's going on. And they're like, damn, I'm glad I didn't come back to the game. And there have been 2, 3, maybe even 4 separate instances of this whole post-quit filtering happening. And that's preventing even more and more people from coming back to the game after they quit. I guarantee it. And it's just, it's rough that we just don't want to have any recognition of this and actively strive to just fix this fucking game, because it's toast, bro. ZZZ is toast. So let me know what you all think. Peace.